Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're in my workshop and we're going to be continue making my 100 necklaces. Before we really hop into things, I'd like to thank everyone who came from Danplan and came to subscribe to my channel. I can't believe how quickly we've grown, and I can't believe how wonderful you guys are being in the comments. Again, thank you so much to each and every one of you. And I can't wait to continue growing with you. Okay, now let's get right into the video. We are making necklaces 11 through 20 today. We're going to start by picking the woods we want to use. Last time we made necklaces out of one species, so this time we're going to try and make the necklaces out of multiple species. I have this bucket of scrap wood that is perfect for the necklaces because of the size and shape of the scraps. I looked for dark woods, light woods, and figured woods. In the end, I found some yellow heart, cherry, figured walnut, maple, and mahogany. I took some time to match up the species that I thought would look nice. I wanted the woods to pop together, but also not be fighting for attention. Even though we have everything sorted out, we can't start the glue up yet. Each piece of wood is not flat, so it has lots of gaps when you try and line up each piece with every other piece. This will make the glue joint weak and unstable. We make the joint stronger by flattening each strip of wood with a hand plane. The hand plane I'm using now is one that I restored in a previous video. You can find that video up in the corner. Hand planes have a blade that stick out from a perfectly flat bottom. This lets you take controlled shavings, thus letting you dictate the relative flatness of the piece of wood. Hand planes are one of the most satisfying tools to use. You create these amazingly thin shavings and can transform a piece of wood in such a short amount of time. My hand planes, next to my chisels, are my most prized tools. With each strip of wood flat, we can now glue them up. When a strip of wood is face up, that means that it will receive glue. Be very careful not to glue the different necklace blanks together. You will never be able to separate them. Trust me, I speak from experience. I'm using Titebond 2 for these necklaces. It's a little overkill, but any yellow wood glue should work for this. Titebond 2 is just what I happen to have on hand. You really want to crank down on those clamps. The harder you squeeze the glue up, the better the woods bond together, and the quicker the glue dries. I waited for about 2 hours before I took everything apart. Most of the wood glue will be dry enough to work with after 1 hour, and be completely cured overnight. Remove the clamps because now we can get to the fun part. Cutting out the blanks and shaping the necklaces. First, we need to trim up the ends so they're all even. With the 3 blanks trimmed, there is one more step we have to take before we can start shaping. We have to even up all the strips of wood. We are going to use a hand plane again. This is a different hand plane. It's not so high quality, and I don't feel as bad about planing tacky glue with it. I used the notes that I took on the last video about necklace shape and applied them here. I made straight lines with very simple shapes that complement the wood grain nicely. We can now finally get to cutting everything out. I use a few different saws for this. I like to change up my tools often, just because I learn a lot when I try different things. This time, I'm not going to be shaping the necklaces with my coping saw. I'm going to use chisels this time. I figured the chisels would take a little bit longer, but take me to a finished dimension much more quickly. This is another very satisfying job. Whenever you are taking fine shavings of wood, it's just so satisfying. There's nothing quite like a sharp tool gliding easily through a piece of hardwood. Look at that flecking in the mahogany. Those little spots that reflect light are so marvelous. Because of the grain structure of mahogany, it's still a very hard wood, but makes an amazing chip. With all the blanks shaped, it's time to get to sanding. We're starting all the way at 60 grit today and moving our way all the way up to 220. I spent a long time sanding again. It went quicker than last time. Since I didn't have to sand a rough saw cut, I only had to sand for smoothness and not dimension. If I used some sort of disc sander, it would probably cut the sanding time down to a handful of minutes instead of an hour and a half. With all the sanding finished, we can use a punch tool to mark out where the holes for the jump rings are going to be, and then of course drill those holes out. The finish I used was that same little bath of mineral oil that I did last time. And here they are all finished. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you really love what I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.